Now, what do all these films have in common? Him and Bodyguards, Jungle Cruise to a certain extent, Red Notice, and to be honest, you could just take out all the action comedy films just around the place. Apart from them all having huge actors in lead roles, budgets bigger than a lot, completely predictable storylines, and Martin Scorsese's theme park rides, which, if you don't know, he came out saying Marvel is not cinema and instead theme park rides. It was quite a debatable topic, but I'm sure that's probably another video. But to be honest, these are the films that differentiate between what is a good film and what is a fun film. And I think in so many areas, the two kind of interlink, but I think some topics like this, two are really differentiated, and that can really show you the difference between what is a good film and what is a fun film. These don't really have the good aspect to it, rather the fun aspect to it. Why? Well, they simply don't need the artistic level for them to be successful. You just need, well, what was previously said about them. When I go to watch one of these films, my expectations are normally pretty low. These are films that have some comedy in, are fun to watch, are completely pointless, and that is exactly where Uncharted stands. And then just a bit lower. So here's the thing, right? So firstly, the acting was pretty awful. I questioned why they chose them two, that is Tom Holland and Mark Walhberg. At certain times, they had very little chemistry in their roles, very little charisma, and they read their lines like they came in the day of shooting, quickly read their lines, and then went off to the pub. The CGI was awful as well at times. Like, this is $100 million budget film, and this is what you give us? Like, even the films that are similar to it, as I mentioned, have much better CGI than this. Films which have budgets, half of it, have CGI better than this. And that was also helped by the fact that the stunts were amazingly beyond crazy, basically. Even in other films mentioned, they are a bit more realistic than this. Now, I know that it's a video game, and to a certain extent, you've got to allow for that craziness. But still, I think you've got to dial it down a bit. For instance, people getting hit by a car at X thousand feet high and coming off it like nothing happened is, well, as I said, not very realistic. And then there's the plot, which was just very predictable. You could have known the whole thing from start to finish even before you entered the cinema. However, not the finish, because actually even I was surprised at the ending. I don't know if it was a bad ending or not, but I certainly wasn't expecting it. However, all the other clips and all the other plots within the film was completely predictable. I think the whole point of that ending, which I won't go into too much detail if you haven't seen it, but it was basically there just to act as a mole, basically, the whole story, and it's like, just don't even bother, basically, with that. The action scenes, which for an action comedy film is gonna be quite heavy on its forefront, were just pretty unexciting and never really felt like proper action scenes, proper quick action scenes that we all know to love. And to be honest, the film wasn't even as fun as others like it. It just wasn't as fun. Partially because of those errors, which, as I said, may not be vital, but it certainly still helps. And if you do error after error after error, they will add up, and it will make the film less enjoyable. And it really dragged the film down a bit, I think. However, having said all that, I didn't regret watching it. Even though, as said, quite a bit of it was rubbish, just give us the basics and you'll come out of the cinema saying that wasn't a great film. It won't be at the Oscars anytime soon either. Red Notice was still better. However, I didn't regret watching it. I guess it was a bit of fun-ish.